Welcome to the Inner Flame podcast where stardust meets the body. Okay, we are here for the weekly energetic pulse, and we are looking at today. I'm a little late getting this out today, June 8th through the 14th. And I think this one kind of threw me for a loop a little bit with getting its information. Some weeks feel so super grounded, and other weeks feel way more expansive. And I think this week is maybe going to feel like both. So I want to make sure that we get into it and I can try to make sense of it as much as possible. We start the week with bringing harmony and balance. And this is really interesting because literally today, as I'm like sitting down talking about this, it's always so funny to me when I pull the cards and I can like see these things, unfold in my life. But I just had a conversation with my husband. We're pretty much done with school. We homeschool. But regardless, everyone's pretty much done with school. There's like a shift in um, your day to day, the energy is shifting. And I really was feeling like the last week or so a little chaotic. And so I said, I really feel like we need to come back to some structure and some balance. And so it's very interesting to see this, to sit down and be doing this and be like, whoa, I'm like already living the energy. So the beginning of the week, really, and I mean, it always bleeds over into the rest of the week, right, is really about bringing harmony and balance. And you might notice in your own experiences where things feel a little stressful, chaotic. I use the word fragmented. Like I really felt like things were fragmented and they weren't cohesive. And I want to come back to feeling cohesive, right? I think, and then we see this through staying. Our experience will be through staying. And I think what's really interesting is I think for many of us, especially when you're trying to maybe bring balance or harmony, it can feel like that spiral moment. And it might be easier to just run away or sweep it under the rug until something is kind of like cataclysmic. You know what I mean? So I think this week is reminding us that, bringing harmony and balance is really going to benefit us through choosing to stay with ourselves, even in trying to figure out what needs to happen, because that's the other thing. I think sometimes we get so used to maybe operating at a certain capacity that when we do want a shift, harmony, balance, it requires us to either let something go, make changes in our own self that don't always feel comfortable for us. It's kind of like you should go do the Pilates or the yoga, but there's like resistance in the body to go do the yoga and Pilates. So it's the same kind of feel, right? The vibes of knowing something's good for you, bringing peace, harmony, and balance, but yet it does require for you to make those shifts and changes. So we also are going to see this through the lens of a situation that's surfacing that may not be as it seems. So I think there's going to be something that like might appear like, oh, that's really, really good. That's exactly what I want. But I feel like right now we're also supposed to proceed with caution. And that's just saying that all that glitters is not gold. So you're being asked to look at your intentions, right? We had that from last week, intentions. What are our intentions guiding us? What's the under underbelly, right, of that intention? And I think, sometimes we can see where even ourselves we're like, oh, but this is what I want it to be. But when you get down underneath that said thing, you can see where your intentions might be muddied a bit, right? And maybe the intention isn't as pure as you thought. So I feel like this again is reminding us like, Sometimes the quick track to success is not always the best path, right? This again is like choosing to stay. So we have stay, like choosing to stay. I think sometimes this is like the band-aid. It's like, well, I mean, I can fix it really quickly and just, but then we're not actually healing or tending to the wound or tending to the problem or tending to the thing, right? We're just pulling the rug over it. And I think this week, the beginning of the week is saying we let's not pull the rug over, right? Let's actually stay and try to develop something that is a little more deeply rooted. And I feel like, again, what I'm getting is to not overwhelm the system. I tend to go like really hard with things. It's like, oh, I this is so great. This is what I want, and I try to change everything at once, and I usually end up frying my system. And I've learned over the years to, like, it is okay to go slow. And I think that's also the stay energy, is like, allow yourself to really devote, right? Devote yourself to this shift that you're looking for to bring harmony and balance. So by the middle of the week, and this is where it gets really interesting, by the middle of the week, we've got seed the light by staying grounded. And so again, this is like, don't overwhelm the system, right? Let go of the things that might not need to get done, okay? Allow yourself to really be grounded. And I think that requires a presence. I was just saying to a friend this morning, like, I've been doing my practices, but it kind of feels like they're not what I need because I haven't been able to be fully present with them. So I think there's a difference, right? Seed the light. What does that mean? Like, feed the light, feed the goodness in life, not by bypassing or pretend like pulling the rug over, but by being able to be present in what is happening in your life, okay? We also have Mother Mary. This is again where it gets super interesting, because Mother Mary, wonderful guide, right? Wonderful teacher, powerful teacher, love, compassion, nurturing. But I also want to tie in and bridge together Magdalene and the blueprint of existence, which was or is expansion, contraction, rest, repeat. Expansion, contraction, rest, repeat. And we have this, so we're going to see this through the lens of Mother Mary. We're going to see this through the lens of expansion, contraction, rest, repeat, love, compassion, nurturing, through the lens of crystals. And I got this card and I was like, man, that just like doesn't feel right, because the card itself is talking about crystals to work with. And I was like, there's something much, much more deeper here. And what's really fascinating is that I was guided to like look into crystals in the body. And then I was like, I kept getting like crystals in the ear, which do help bring balance and harmony to the body. So there might be somebody out there who listens to that and is like, oh my God, my crystals in my ear were off. I should go to the chiropractor and they can help me get my balance back. Okay, cool, great. But I also think this has everything to do with the crystalline or crystalline body that we are working towards, right? Our bodies are completely changing to be able to exist in this 5D existence. So that felt more what it meant. The crystals, it's like seed the light by staying grounded. Our experience is going to be through expansion. What does expansion mean? It means when we are doing something or coming to the edge of something, right? Expanding, like you have a new project that you're expanding into, or you have a dream, or you have a creation, or you have a public speaking event that you have been wanting to do, or you're writing a book, or you're painting, or you're whatever it is. That is expansion. Contraction then will happen naturally. That is a natural thing to happen. It's again, how are we choosing to stay with ourselves when the contraction happens? We're going to maybe go in and go, oh, I'm not worthy. Maybe this won't work out for me, right? We put all these things the contraction happens. How do we choose to stay, right? And we kind of go through a rest period. We allow ourselves to build capacity without completely shutting down. But the crystalline body is about that. And what was really interesting is I had posted the other day on social media a journal entry that I had from 2022 of the things that I had learned from Celeste. And one of the things she was talking about was, I think it was galactic keys, and they are actually in other solar systems. And let me see. Yeah, there are 13 portals and there are 13 galactic keys, but they all are coming from different solar systems. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And I wrote about it. I was like, man, I don't even remember writing this. And my friend said some thoughts that the 13th is the rebirth into the fully illuminated Ka energy body, the immortal self. So I have this amazing book by Tom Kenyon and Judy Sion, and it's called The Magdalene Manuscript. I've always liked Tom Kenyon. If you've read my stuff on Substack, I talk about him a little bit. But in here, they talk about the Ka, which is a subtle energy body described in Egyptian alchemy. The Ka is an energetic duplicate of the physical body and is sometimes referred to as the etheric double or spiritual twin. Much of the focus of Egyptian alchemy is on the transformation of the Ka body. What if the crystalline body is the Ka body and the physical body joining forces? So this feels really deep, I know, and probably like a little more expansive than some of my other energy reads. But the fact is it's like, I think what this part of the week is saying is that this is happening, and to stay grounded and to look at yourself through the lens of love and compassion and nurturing. How can you support yourself, right? And understand that what you're going through is part of the blueprint of existence, which is the expansion, the contraction, the rest, repeat, right? That feels like a lot, I know, but it still feels really, really magical. And I feel like this again is just saying a lot of what we're going through is actually altering our bodies and how we respond to things, how our physical bodies feel. I don't think we've really had anything, like this happen on our planet, where we are very quickly moving into a higher dimension. So we end the week with I Remember, and this is the fated life versus destiny life. And the fated life is kind of like the life that you were born into, right? How life just is happening to you. The destiny is stepping into what your soul is calling you to do. And again, I think this has so much to do with the bodies merging, the Ka body and the physical body, right? And we could almost look at it as like the physical body as the fated life, and the Ka body is the soul or destiny of life. And we've got to bring those together, right? So that might make sense, that might not make sense, but that's at least like energetically what I'm picking up on. So by the end of the week, it's really being able to go, okay, am I just going to keep going down the path of what I think I'm supposed to do? Or am I going to embrace and step onto the path that is way less walked? And why is it less walked? It's less walked because nobody will ever be able to walk the same path as you, ever, ever, ever in life. We all have different subtleties. We all have different experiences. We all have different perceptions. We all have different emotions about things. And so it's really maybe moving from the path that you think you're supposed to uphold or live, and really stepping into one that really truly aligns with you. We want to see this this is going to be through the experience of love, I should say. So really being allowing ourselves to open to that, right? Again, with like Mother Mary, the middle of the week is really about our bodies being able to hold more, and then stepping into a path that might feel more in alignment, right? Letting go of the faded path and stepping into the destiny, right? Your own legacy, and allowing love around that. And I feel like with the love, there's also maybe a release. I'm going to read the card because maybe, just maybe, there's something in there that I'm missing. But this is really interesting. So they're talking about rules in this. So when rules are imposed upon them, when they face disciplinary action, and when one's close to them get upset, they often feel rejected. It is a role as an indigo to question rules and to ask why when situations seem unfair. This will never change. The card invites you to see that although some things feel unjust, people are only lovingly looking out for your best interests. In order for you to live and succeed in society, certain rules must always be followed. When the people in your life correct your behavior, sometimes it's because they love you and want the best for you. If you sit and meditate, you'll know whether this is true for your present situation. Your role in this world will be shown to you clearly. Your job now is to make sure you do what is asked in order to be a productive member of society, the same society you are meant to recreate, which is really interesting because this the end of the week energy is through the lens of creation. So I feel like this again is saying this, ah, man, how do I put into words of like what I'm feeling? Because I feel like this again has so much to do with the macro and micro, and maybe feeling like what's happening in the world or even in your own personal life feels unjust, right? And this is like again saying, I know it's saying play by the rules, but I feel like a big part of this is saying to not play by the rules, to really let go of what life has maybe demanded of you, and really allow yourself to step into what is it that you desire. How do you want to create this beautiful world, right? And allow yourself to open to that, right? Because I still feel like there is, you know, I completely love what the card was saying, but I feel like there's another aspect to it in this sense where it's like, when situations seem unfair, okay, so we seem to feel rejected. And maybe that would be a trigger by the end of the week, because when we let go of something that doesn't feel right for us anymore, people are going to be like, are you okay? Are you sure you want to do this? Do you have a plan? What's your plan? You need to have a plan. You need to have it all figured out. That's what you're going to do. Are you sure that's good for you? And like, yes, sometimes people do want to look out for you, but we really are allowed to change up the rules, right? Especially for ourselves. And I think this is such a big thing right now because as the macro, we're being asked to step into our sovereignty, which is to maybe forego the rules that society has demanded on us. And I don't mean that in a way where you're supposed to, go be a jerk or go tear into somebody or go harm somebody. That is not at all what I'm talking about. Sovereignty is about knowing that you choose your path and that you have enough trust within yourself, enough connection in yourself to trust that you will find the way, right? Sovereignty is really about having community but not depending on community or government. So by the end of the week, again, we've got this creation. And I think we talked, was it last week or the week before, where it was like maybe getting curious in what that looks like for you, right? Like maybe there's something that you want to volunteer for or help with or create. Who knows? But this is really about stepping into the fated life, the life that you think you have to have, and stepping into your destiny, your actual legacy. Allowing love around that, maybe letting go of the rules and understanding that you are absolutely a participant in the creation of this world, absolutely. What you think, what you believe has a place and a part in what's going on and what we're seeing. And so I think what I want to end with is, the beginning of the week is really reminding us of balance and harmony. The quick fix might not be the way to go, and I think we're going to see that in the macro. I think that's going to be a big reminder too, where we see things on the main stage where it's like that's just covering it under the rug, right? And that's not what we're looking for as a people anymore. Seeding the light by staying grounded, understanding that you are doing much more than you probably realize by staying grounded and experiencing the blueprint of existence, expansion, contraction, rest, right? And really being able to see yourself, that whatever you're going through in this now moment, where it could be super expansive but also you feel like you're spiraling, choosing to stay and support yourself, and understanding that your body, right, we've got two different bodies that are going to be merging, and that's the crystalline body. And then ending the week with you really having the guts or the bravery, and it might be in small ways, and that's okay. That's still really, really brilliant, to step into your destiny, right? Allow love around that. Maybe break the rules, even though the card was saying, there's rules. Yes, but what rules need to maybe be broken for us to step in and really create this new paradigm? And remember that you are the creator, right? That is with the fated life. I feel like the fated life is also taking the back seat with your co-creatorship. It's like, well, life just happens to me. And like, there are nuances in there, because of course there are things that have been planned for a long time and experiences for you to go through, but there's also a difference in being the driver for your own life, right? And I think that's something that we need to remember this week. We are the drivers of our lives and a definite participant in the co-creation of this beautiful earth. So I hope you have a wonderful week. That was a lot. I will try, if you're on Substack, I definitely try to break down the weekly reads with some reflections, or just breakdowns of the week. That's what I want to say. Breakdowns of the week for you to maybe just be like, oh gosh, I remember that part. So I hope you have a great week. I will have reflections down at the bottom for you to just kind of journal with throughout the week. And I will probably be sharing somatic practices later this week as well. So just take care of you. Remember that you're the one who gets to choose the balance and harmony, even in chaos, even when it's a lot, right? Even when it's a lot and it's overwhelming, choose to stay, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. We are humans who are meant to experience the extremes of life, and that's definitely what we go through sometimes. So I will see you next week. Thank you for listening.